There is a moment that arrives before you even realize it, a small flash like heat under your skin, when someone speaks down to you or makes a mocking comment that cuts deeper than you expected. It might be in a meeting where everyone is listening, or it might be in private with no one else around. But the effect is the same. You feel the sting, your body stiffens, your heart rate picks up, and your mind begins rushing toward the most natural reaction. You want to defend yourself, to push back, to prove them wrong, to show them that their disrespect will not go unanswered. In that split second, your whole being screams for a response, and this is the trap. Because the very moment you jump into defense, you show that the insult landed. You show that the other person has power over you, power to pull you out of your calm center and drag you into their storm. Most people never learn how costly this is. They think answering disrespect shows strength, that by fighting back they will look bold, sharp, unshaken. But the truth is far colder. When you react to disrespect, you are no longer in control. You are being controlled. You are dancing to the tune someone else played, and everyone who watches can see it. Even if your words are clever, even if you silence the other person with logic or wit, the room still saw you flinch first. They saw you give away your energy. They saw you prove that you could be pulled down. That is why the sting of disrespect is not just about the words. It is about the choice it forces you to make. Either you rise to it and lose composure, or you learn to endure it and build power. Think back to the most powerful people you have ever seen in life. They were not the ones who snapped at every slight. They were not the ones who explained themselves again and again to win approval. They were the ones who remained still, who carried themselves as if no insult could reach them. And that is not because insults never hurt. It is because they trained themselves to master the first sting. They learned that the moment of heat is only a moment, that if you can hold still for just a few breaths, the urge to react will fade, and when it fades, your control returns. You stop being the target, and you become the mirror, and suddenly it is the other person who looks exposed. The sting of disrespect is a test you will face again and again, from strangers, from co-workers, from people close to you. Each time the instinct will be the same, to snap back, to clear your name, to make them regret daring to speak against you. But real composure is built by doing the opposite. You let the words land without moving. You let them echo in silence. You let the weight of your calm turn the insult back onto the speaker. The first sting will always come, but your reaction decides whether you stay weak or become untouchable. The trap of reaction is the oldest trick in human interaction, and almost everyone falls into it without knowing. When someone disrespects you, when they make a sly comment or a direct insult, they are rarely looking for truth. They are fishing for control. They want to see if they can pull you into their game, and the easiest way to do that is to make you defend yourself. The moment you react, whether by snapping back, raising your voice, or rushing to explain, you have already confirmed their power. You have told them, and everyone else watching, that they touched your nerves, that you are not as steady as you appeared a moment ago. The sting is not in their words, but in your need to answer them. That need becomes a leash, and once they know they can tug on it, they will use it again and again. Think of how arguments spiral. It is rarely because of the first comment, it is because of the response. The disrespect might have been small, maybe even subtle, but when you take the bait and show your frustration, you breathe life into it. Suddenly, what could have died in silence becomes the center of attention. People lean in. They look to see how you will react next, and the focus shifts entirely. You no longer appear in control. You appear dragged into proving yourself. This is the trap. Disrespect alone is weak, but your reaction feeds its strength. Like a fire that only burns when given oxygen, an insult only grows when given your attention. Most people do not understand that silence is not weakness. They think that if they don't respond, others will believe the insult is true. So they rush to clarify, to correct, to defend. But defense is the loudest confession. When you say, "I am not arrogant, I am not selfish, I am not weak," what you are really saying is, "Please believe me. Please don't think that about me." And the more you plead, the more guilty you look. The crowd does not measure truth by words, they measure it by composure. If you stay calm, if you act as if the jab did not even register, people assume it has no weight. But if you fight it, they assume it must be close to the truth. The trap of reaction is dangerous because it disguises itself as justice. You feel like you are standing up for yourself, but in reality, you are kneeling before their frame. You are playing by their rules in their arena under their spotlight. True strength is refusing to play at all. When you hold still, when you let the bait float past you untouched, you don't just protect your calm, you turn the tables. The one who tried to provoke you now looks desperate. The silence makes them repeat themselves, makes them louder, makes them look emotional. And the more they try to prove your weakness, the more obvious their own becomes. That is why the greatest power move is not the sharpest comeback, but the refusal to give one. The trap is always waiting, but when you stop reacting, you stop being caught. Silence has always been misunderstood. People think that if you don't reply, if you don't defend yourself, then you are weak or scared or unable to think of something clever to say. But the truth is the opposite. Calm stillness is not weakness, it is power disguised as patience. When you choose silence, when you let words hang in the air without moving, you are not avoiding the fight. You are controlling it. You turn their jab, their insult, their disrespect into something that does not touch you but instead circles back to them. Silence is a mirror. It does not block or push back, it reflects, and what it reflects is their own insecurity. When someone disrespects you, they are not simply speaking, they are testing. They want to see your reaction. They want to feel that rush of control when you break composure. The moment you rise to the bait, they win. But when you do nothing, when you keep your face calm and your body still, you force them into a new and uncomfortable space. They are left sitting in their own noise. They repeat themselves because they did not get the reaction they wanted. They start to sound emotional, bitter, desperate, and the more they push, the weaker they appear. All of this happens because you held the silence, because you chose not to waste your energy on proving anything. The human mind hates a void. When you don't answer, the other person begins to fill that silence with their own doubts. Maybe they went too far. Maybe they embarrassed themselves. Maybe they just exposed their own insecurity in front of everyone. And if others are watching, the effect is even stronger. The crowd does not see your silence as weakness. They see it as control. They see you sitting calm while the other person loses their balance, and they begin to wonder who really has the power here. What looked like an attack now looks like desperation, and what looked like silence now looks like strength. Think of how silence feels in your own life. When someone ignores you after you expected a fight, when they give you nothing, the silence grows heavy. You replay your words in your head. You wonder how you sounded. You start to feel exposed. That is the same pressure you create in others when you don't react. They are forced to hear their own voice louder than they expected, and it makes them uneasy. Silence does what arguments can't. It makes the attacker turn on themselves. This is why silence hurts them more than any comeback could. A sharp reply gives them proof that they got to you, but stillness tells them they never even touched you. And that thought, that possibility that they failed to shake you, eats at them far longer than words ever could. When you master the art of silence, you don't just protect your peace, you create a force that turns attacks into self-destruction. Calm is not passive, calm is a weapon, and silence is the sharpest blade of all. In every room where words are thrown like knives, the crowd is not truly watching the one who makes the cut. They are watching the one who is cut. They want to see what you will do, how you will react, how much weight you will give to the moment. This is the unspoken law of human interaction, the truth that few understand but everyone feels. The insult itself does not define you, the response does. When you meet disrespect with anger or nervous laughter, or desperate explanation, you show the room that you are on the defensive. You show them that the words landed. You show them that you can be shaken. And once that picture is painted, it is hard to erase because the room will remember how quickly your energy shifted. They will not recall the exact words said against you. They will remember the way you reacted. Now imagine a different picture. The same jab thrown at you, the same attempt to belittle you. But instead of reacting, you stay still. You breathe slowly. You look calm. You do not rush to explain. You do not even seem disturbed. Suddenly the weight of the insult is not on you, but on the one who spoke it. The crowd shifts its gaze without knowing. They start to see the attacker, not the target. Why would someone speak like that, they wonder? Why would someone need to throw shade when the other person did nothing in return? The frame shifts, the spotlight moves, and the one who thought they were making you look weak now stands under the heat of judgment. This is why composure is the greatest strategy in social settings. It does not just protect you, it flips the entire balance of perception. People believe what the room believes, and the room takes its cue not from the attack but from the response. When you stay composed, when you let disrespect shrink in the silence of your presence, you create doubt in the minds of those watching. Doubt about the attacker, doubt about their motives, doubt about whether the insult had any truth at all. The more still you remain, the more unstable the one who disrespected you appears. They may try to repeat themselves, they may laugh nervously, they may attempt to cover up their own slip, but the damage is already done. They look small, you look untouchable, and the room feels it. The social frame is invisible yet powerful. Whoever controls it controls the story, and the story decides who rises and who falls. The one who lashes out may think they won, but the room remembers the calm one, the one who did not flinch, the one who seemed above it all. That is how reputations are built in silence. That is how power grows without effort. You don't need to fight the words, you only need to master your reaction. Because in every room the insult fades, but the memory of who stayed composed lasts. Detachment is one of the hardest skills to master, because everything in you wants to defend, to correct, to push back when someone questions who you are. But detachment is also one of the sharpest weapons you can carry, because it shows that no one has the power to drag you into their frame unless you allow it. When someone calls you arrogant or selfish or fake, most people rush to prove they are not. But when you simply breathe and say that as how you see it, or when you say nothing at all, the effect is devastating. It tells the world that you are not bound by their opinion, you are not shaken by their words, you are not willing to lower yourself into a debate about your worth. And that calm refusal is often louder than any defense could ever be. People misunderstand detachment. They think it means you do not care. But it is not about apathy, it is about control. You still hear the insult, you still feel the jab, but you choose not to give it energy. You let it pass like smoke, touching nothing solid, fading as quickly as it came. And in that choice lies power, because when you detach, you deny the other person the very thing they wanted most, your reaction. They wanted to pull you into a fight. They wanted to see you flinch. They wanted to prove they had influence over your emotions. But detachment cuts that cord. It leaves them swinging in the air with no resistance, and the more they swing, the more foolish they look. Think of the last time someone insulted you and you did not reply. Remember how the silence grew heavy, not on your side but on theirs. They filled it with nervous laughter. Or they tried to repeat themselves, or they looked around for support. But the calmness you held was a mirror. It showed their insecurity, their need for validation, their desire to rattle you. And the longer you stayed detached, the more their weakness showed. That is why detachment is not just absence, it is a weapon. It is the blade that cuts without moving. The phrase "that's how you see it" works because it is neither defensive nor aggressive. It does not argue, it does not explain, it does not give ground, it simply reflects. It tells the person that their opinion is theirs alone, that it has no power to define you, that you will not wear their words like a chain. It leaves them confused because they expected resistance, and without it, they lose their balance. They begin to doubt themselves, and in that doubt their attack dissolves. Detachment is strength because it protects your energy while exposing theirs. It does not need volume, it does not need speed, it needs only calm. When you use it, you rise above the noise, and the world sees it. They see a person who cannot be baited, a person who will not explain, a person whose silence is more powerful than another's anger. That is how detachment becomes a weapon, and that is how you win without fighting. When someone throws an insult at you, they are not simply trying to describe you, they are trying to place you in a frame where they hold the power. They want to push you into defending, into explaining, into proving that what they said is not true. But when you defend, you accept their frame, and once you are inside their frame, you cannot win. The secret is not to resist, but to redirect, not to fight their energy, but to turn it back on them. This is the art of reframing, and it is one of the strongest ways to keep your power while making them stumble in their own words. Imagine someone says you are arrogant, and you rush to deny it. No, I am not arrogant. I am just confident. I do not think I am better than others. The moment those words leave your mouth, the crowd hears a confession, because why would you explain if there was nothing to explain? But if you instead let a calm smile slip and say, "Strange how confidence unsettles people," the insult no longer sits on you. It reflects back onto them. Now they are the one exposed. They are the one who looks insecure. They are the one who has to wonder if their own discomfort was just revealed in front of everyone. This move works because you are not trying to prove your innocence. You are making their accusation reveal more about them than about you. Someone says you are manipulative, and instead of insisting you are not, you respond, "Only people who cannot be influenced say that." Someone says you are fake, and you answer, "Everyone says that," when they stop getting what they want. Each line turns the attack into a mirror, and the mirror shows their frustration, their bitterness, their weakness. Suddenly the room is no longer asking, "Is the insult true?" They are asking, "Why did the attacker sound so insecure?" The key is composure. If you sound angry, if you sound defensive, the reframe loses its edge. But if you stay calm, almost amused, the shift is undeniable. People sense that you are not shaken, that you are not on trial, that you are still in control. And because people read confidence more than they read facts, they believe the one who holds composure, not the one who makes noise. That is why turning energy back works so well, because you let the other person carry the weight of their own words. Every insult has a hidden truth, but it is rarely about you, it is about them. It shows what they fear, what they envy, what they wish they could ignore. When you reframe, you reveal that truth without ever raising your voice. You don't meet the sword with a shield, you let them fall on their own blade. And once you master this, disrespect stops being a threat. It becomes an opportunity to expose the weakness of others while you rise higher in silence. The more you resist the urge to react to every small slight, the more you begin to change the way people see you. At first it feels strange, almost unnatural, to let words pass by without answering them, to let comments hang in the air without defending yourself. But slowly something begins to form around you, something stronger than the need to be liked or approved of. It is an aura, a sense of immunity that others can feel even if they cannot explain it. People begin to sense that they cannot shake you, that their words will not find purchase, that no matter what they say, you will remain steady. This aura is not built overnight. It is built through practice, through patience, through the choice again and again to remain calm when it would be easier to snap. Most people live in reaction. They answer every insult, they defend every rumor, they justify every choice. Their energy is always on edge, always ready to fight back. And because of this, they are predictable, easy to provoke, easy to read. But the one who trains himself to resist this cycle becomes different. His silence is heavier. His presence carries weight. His calm unsettles people more than anger ever could. Over time, this becomes his identity. He is no longer just a person with a good reputation. He is someone with an aura that makes others cautious. And that aura is stronger than reputation, because reputation is fragile. It can be attacked and argued with, but presence cannot be touched. Presence is not what people think about you. It is what they feel when they are near you. Think of the people you have met who seemed untouchable. They were not always the loudest, they were not always the most charming, but when they entered a room, you felt something shift. You noticed how little they reacted, how little they explained, how comfortable they were in silence. That is the aura of immunity. It makes people hesitate before speaking against you. It makes them second-guess before testing you. It makes them treat you with a caution that is often mistaken for respect. And in truth, it is respect, not because you demanded it, but because you created an atmosphere where no one dares to casually challenge you. When you stop reacting to small disrespects, you send a quiet message to the world. You tell people that their approval is not your oxygen, that their insults are not your chains, that your worth is not up for debate. Each time you choose not to react, your aura grows a little stronger, and eventually you no longer have to prove yourself in any way. People simply feel it. They see it in your stillness, in your calm expression, in your steady presence. They may not like you, they may not even understand you, but they will not underestimate you. And that is the true gift of the aura of immunity. Not being liked, not even being trusted, but being seen as untouchable. Staying calm when someone disrespects you is not a gift that some people are born with. It is a skill that is trained like any other. The body is built to react. The heart speeds up, the face tightens, the voice wants to rise, and before you know it, you have already given away your control. This is why you cannot simply tell yourself to be calm. You must practice it until it becomes your natural response. Training the stillness means teaching your body and your mind to resist the first wave, to pause before words leave your mouth, to let silence carry the weight instead of rushing to fill it. The first step is awareness. Most people react without even noticing it. They justify themselves before they realize they are on trial. They raise their voice before they know they have taken the bait. Training stillness begins with catching yourself in that split second, the moment where the urge to respond starts to rise. You do not need to win in that instant. You only need to wait. A single breath, a short pause, even the smallest delay gives you back control. It shows your body that you are not at the mercy of emotion. It shows your mind that silence can be a choice. Over time, those small pauses add up, and what once felt impossible starts to feel natural. Silence is not empty. It is a tool. When you let a comment hang without replying, the silence does the work for you. It makes the speaker doubt themselves. It makes the room lean toward you. It makes the energy shift without effort. But to use silence as a weapon, you must be comfortable with it, and comfort with silence only comes through practice. Start with small moments. Let conversations breathe. Do not rush to answer every question. Let pauses stretch a little longer than you normally would. Each time you do this, you are building the muscle of stillness. You are teaching yourself that calmness is power. It is not just about words, it is about the body too. Your posture, your eyes, your breathing, all of these tell the world whether you are calm or shaken. When you practice keeping your body still, when you train your face not to flinch, when you steady your breath under pressure, you send a message stronger than words. People believe what they see more than what they hear, and if they see calmness, they will believe you hold control even if inside you feel the storm. This is why training stillness matters, because composure is not an act you perform once, it is a presence you build over time. With practice, the pause becomes natural, the silence becomes easy, the stillness becomes who you are. And when that happens, no insult can force you into reaction. No jab can pull you from your center. You will have trained your calm into an aura, and in that aura lies the kind of power that does not need to shout because it is already undeniable. The highest level of composure is not simply staying calm when someone disrespects you. It is reaching a place where disrespect no longer feels like a threat at all. In the beginning, you fight against the urge to react. You practice silence. You train your body not to flinch. And slowly you become steady in situations that once would have broken you. But there comes a point beyond this, a stage where calm turns into something greater. At this point, you do not just avoid being rattled, you begin to define the entire room with your stillness. Your presence itself carries such weight that others feel it before you even speak. And in that space, your calm becomes command. When you no longer see disrespect as dangerous, you strip it of all its power. The words may come, the shade may be thrown, but it does not touch you. It slides past without leaving a mark. You are not forcing yourself to remain quiet anymore. You are naturally above it. The crowd notices this difference. They sense the aura you carry, and they begin to respond without you lifting a finger. When someone tries to attack you, you do not need to defend yourself because others do it for you. They speak up. They question the motive of the attacker. They say that was unnecessary, or he doesn't deserve that. This shift happens because your silence no longer feels like avoidance. It feels like strength, and strength inspires loyalty. In this stage, you learn that power is not in proving yourself, but in letting others prove you for you. When you hold calm with such depth, people see it as a sign of inner certainty, and certainty is magnetic. It draws respect. It draws protection. It draws followers. The attacker who thought they could make you small suddenly finds themselves outnumbered. Not because you fought, but because the room chose to side with you. That is the transformation from calm to command, when your restraint becomes influence, when your silence becomes leadership. Think of leaders you have known or admired. The strongest among them were not always the loudest. They were the ones who could sit still in storms and make others feel safe in their quiet. They were the ones who made others speak on their behalf. the ones whose authority came not from constant explanation, but from presence alone. This is the level you reach when you master composure fully. Disrespect does not just fail to shake you, it disappears in your shadow. The words dissolve before they land because the weight of your stillness makes them meaningless. From calm to command is the final step, the stage where you no longer play defense because there is no battle to fight. You carry yourself as if nothing can touch you, and the world responds by treating you that way. Others defend you before you even ask, not because you demanded it, but because your aura makes them want to. That is the moment you become untouchable, not by force, not by words, but by the quiet power of presence that cannot be shaken. Maybe this video helped you see yourself, or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.